Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/entitled people. In today's episode, entitled colleague tells me off for grieving. I gave it to my other dog. Don't want to wait, get out. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled colleague tells me off for grieving. I lost someone important recently. He was like my second dad. He helped raise me and I knew him my entire life, so when he passed, I've not been handling it too well. Mostly, I've just been in a daze during work, not really speaking to anyone. I've recently been doing much better thanks to my best friend, so when I returned to work after being off for the weekend, I was able to talk and joke around with my colleagues again. One particular colleague, who I used to be pretty friendly with, was ignoring me when I said hi to them. After a few attempts, I asked what was wrong. They proceeded to tell me off for not talking to them for the past week and that they get that I'm grieving, but they have had it so much worse because my dad died when I was 10 and no one can understand the pain I went through and you need to get over it. He wasn't even related to you, and my personal favorite, you'll never know what grief is like I do. Considering my bio dad, 3 sets of grandparents, mom was adopted, and now recently my second dad have passed away, I found that comment to be a bit shit. I didn't say anything and just walked away. Suffice it to say, we won't be talking as much anymore. I am so sorry for your loss. That is so disrespectful to say that to you. At least you only have to work with them and don't have to live with someone so self-centered. Glad that your friend is helping you. Ignore them, take care of yourself. Thank you. Thankfully, we're on different teams so we don't interact much. Colleague sounds like it's got martyr syndrome. You do realize this person had the monopoly on grief. You shouldn't have tried to steal his thunder. Seriously though, sorry for your loss. Bereavement affects people differently, but for your coworker to turn it into a competition is bizarre. You sound more emotionally mature. It was really odd and weirdly aggressive. They were always so chill before. Colleague is an asshole. A friend of mine since kindergarten, and we're in our 40s now, lost her mom when we were in 3rd grade. I lost my mom when I was 29. You know what she didn't do? She didn't tell me that at least I had a mom 20 years longer than she did. It's not a competition. When someone decides that an individual's new grief over a recent loss should be dismissed because someone else's grieving process that started ages ago, everyone loses. Had a boss say something like this to me when my step-grandfather passed away. He had been in my life for close to 30 years. Bossman stated that he really wasn't my grandfather, just my stepdad's dad, and when his grandfather passed, he was back at work the same day. I told him I'm sorry that he's not close to his family and walked away. Kinda pissed him off. So sorry for your loss. Your colleague is a major asshole and not a friend. I don't understand for the life of me why people feel the need to tell you to get over something that has absolutely nothing to do with them. How the hell can people be jealous of grief? Shit blows my mind, honestly. So this asshole is trying to compare grief, but at the same time downplaying and dismissing yours because you weren't related? I'd ask that fool if he would say the same thing to someone who lost a wife or a husband, since they technically weren't related. What a full-blown, 2-bit moron. Good on you for walking away. I'd have went to jail over that get over it shit. I gave it to my other dog. This kinda is a story about a Karen, but at the same time she was being entitled. I work in a shop that sells pet food amongst other things. Some of our items have a guarantee where if the customer isn't satisfied, they can bring it back for a return, no questions. Not my policy, don't care really. Well, about midway through my shift, a woman comes up to my till with what appears to be an empty sack of dog food. She says to me that she wants a refund on it. I look in it, there are no joke 4 biscuits at the bottom. I'm confused and I say it's empty? She says it's not empty, and that she wants a refund. I get my manager at this point because I don't want to authorize it and get into trouble. The manager comes over, I explain the situation. Manager looks in the bag and asks her what happened to the food. She says, well, my dog didn't like it. Manager asks her if her dog didn't like the food, why it was all empty bar a couple of biscuits at the bottom. Bear in mind this is a large 5-kilogram sack of biscuits. Her response? Well, my dog didn't like it. So I gave it to my other dog. She was not happy when she didn't get her refund. How long did she think this would possibly work? She was, no joke, probably thinking, I bought this for dog A, who refused to eat it, and dog B came around and finished the bowl. But since the intended recipient didn't like it, I'm entitled to a refund. I buy prescription food from an online pet food company that sounds like a beloved Star Wars character. I bought a 16-pound bag and the car wouldn't eat it. I called customer service to see if they had samples to find out what he'd eat, and when they found out about him not eating a $70 bag of food, they gave me a credit for the uneaten bag. When I asked for a return label, they just asked me to donate it. Super cool folks to deal with. When my mom's dog died that had a prescription food, they did the same thing, told to donate, and also sent her a card. Very nice of them. Bruh, I was searching my brain trying to think of Jar Jar Binks sounding pet websites LMAO. I say she ate him herself. Little minds always blame it on the dog. Reminds me of some shit I've heard/seen when refunding my bottles for money. I swear some people are too damn high some days. Some folks could stand to be a lot higher though. Don't want to wait, get out. So this happened a few months ago. My wife is pregnant with our second child, and for those who don't know, it is advisable to go see a gynecologist/OB every month until birth. In my country, or at least what I have experienced, while you do make an appointment at the gynecologist's office, it still is first come first serve. Usually multiple people are allowed to make their appointments for the morning or afternoon sessions. My wife and I usually go there early for the morning session to avoid the wait. It's also worth mentioning that this is a private clinic, but a very sought-after doctor, so the clinic is always full. On this day, we were the 8th patient in line, even though we came at 8 a.m., not unusual. As we sat down, I noticed this couple. The husband seemed agitated and his wife seemed very meek. Not even 5 minutes of me sitting down, I could hear him complaining about the wait. At that moment, it was still understandable as the line did not move, due to, as I would find out later, the doctor being 10 minutes late to work. But everyone else was just quiet, minding their own business, playing with their phones etc. and waiting patiently. 15 minutes in, he goes to the nurse and loudly asks the nurse what's taking so long. By now the doctor's in, and about to see the first patient. As he is talking with the nurse, the first patient is called. Immediately, his face get blood red. I had an appointment. Why are they going before me? He proclaims to the nurse. The nurse just says to wait a while and the doctor will see them soon. He must have been 4th or 5th in line. But as the second patient went in, he blew up again, and apparently the third was too much. As the third patient was called in, he got up, stopped the nurse from closing the doctor's door, and for the world to hear, "We had an appointment, I want to see you now." The doctor tried to calm him down, reiterating that she would get to him soon, but he wouldn't have it. Like a broken record, he kept on stating he had an appointment, and he would go on to say how unprofessional she was for not seeing him first. One thing you have to know is most of the patients here have been coming to see this doctor for months. Many, like me, were having their second child or more. So we were very attached to this doctor. Many in the waiting room voiced for him to be quiet, some not so nicely, and to sit down. That didn't stop him, and he turned his ire towards us, telling us to shut up and mind our own business. The last straw came when he kicked the doctor's door in anger. She finally had enough. Her regulars finally had enough. She told him to get out, and as she was saying this, most of the males in the room were standing at the ready in case things got violent. He got the message and left, all the while proclaiming that they didn't know who he was and the doctor was going to be sorry. As for his wife, who remained, the doctor kindly told her, "Unfortunately, I don't think I will be the right doctor for you. I hope you find one that can suit your husband's needs." Later on, as the doctor was checking on my wife, I learned from her that they had pulled this stunt with another clinic and she was their second gynecologist. Good luck on finding the third. Edit, just to clarify, the choice for appointments were only 2 slots, either in the morning, before lunch, or the afternoon, after lunch. Within those slots it would be first come first serve, common practice where in my country. I feel sad for his wife. If he's this explosive in public, he's most likely worse behind closed doors. I hope your country has good resources for victims of domestic violence, and that his wife escapes. Being raised by parents that had a similar dynamic, I can guarantee he's much worse in private. The wife was behaving that way out of fear of severe abuse, probably 3+ types. His poor wife. That poor kid. While his reaction was completely over the top, that doctor's office can suck a fart for scheduling a bunch of people at the same time, then having people wait for potentially hours. Seriously, who does that? Yeah. I want to throw a fit every time. Obviously I don't cause standards, but last I was at the eye doctor, I waited over an hour past my appointment time, so I just left. I let the receptionist know, very quietly and politely, and left. Her face was gobsmacked, but honestly, respect our time just a little. Whilst I understand the doctor does not want to risk her life by seeing the lady and her potential kid, I do feel kind of bad for them because regardless of how much of a man baby the husband is, she is the one suffering for it by not being able to get medical attention. And again, I completely understand it is basically to prevent the husband from blowing up on the wife and abusing her further for disrespecting him, and to prevent the doctor from getting targeted by him for seeing his wife without his permission. But I still feel bad for the wife and potential kid not being able to see the doctor. But I mean, as much as I would wish it, the world cannot force people who do not want therapy to go to therapy and become a better person until they do something violent and someone gets hurt. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.